Good afternoon, good morning, and good day. Here I am, once again, Buppo, Big Ol' Grunculus Prime, and aka Big Buppo, aka the Loathsome Cum Eater. And the reason I'm calling myself that is for the very reason you see on screen right now. I am running a pure caster dragon build. And I feel horrible about it. I know, genuinely, I feel terrible about myself. So, the question is posed in the title of this video. Are dragon builds toxic? Yes or no? And to answer that question, I'm going to tell you guys a little story. As I was recording this video and making the build, on paper, I was like, it doesn't look like a very good build. It doesn't look very strong. It's got its drawbacks, it's got its flaws, and I have to rely on a lot of different talismans to really make this build work comfortably for me. Now, I know there are better and more optimized versions of this build that some people can make. I could be using the frog helmet or whatever. I could be using the Mask of Confidence. I could be using the Mimic tier mask. I could be doing a bunch of things to up my arcane in different ways. I could be using masks to up my dexterity to use better weapons and all that. But that's not what I'm here for, and that's not what this is about. Because this build sucks. It does. And let me tell you the story. So, as I made this build, and it was time to record, I had my girlfriend with me today, and I had her set up to play Dragon Age next to me and all that. And so, the way my OBS recording system works is that it records the audio of the game through whatever setting the audio was on. And the audio was on recording with headphones. But I gave her the headphones so she could focus on her game, and I could just, play Elden Ring and say what I had to say as I was playing it. So, I'm spoiling it, but basically the audio didn't record. So I had an hour worth of footage with some decently okay fights. And I say decently okay because that's the best you're going to get out of this build. So I did that, and it was muted. No sound whatsoever. The footage was useless. And the more I played, because when I started the recording, not knowing that it wasn't recording any sound, I was having a bit of fun thinking to myself, wow, this build is so cheesy and ridiculous. You either one-shot or get one-shot because you don't really have much to, defend yourself with. I got a halberd and a knife, essentially. The wakizashi is considered a dagger. It's in the dagger class. And, it's not great. You don't have many options. You don't have many choices. You don't have what you can do with counter builds. So at first I was like, this is funny. One shot. Haha. But I get bored with one shot builds really, really fast. It's like, oh, look, right here. Oh, I cast Dragon Flame. Oh, boy, I wonder what's going to happen next. They're going to take half their health from being hit by 2 ticks of Dragon Flame. It doesn't even feel fair. And then the more I played, the more I was like, oh, God, I just want this to be over. I just want this to be over. So I look at the recording time, and I'm 20 minutes in. I'm like, Jesus Christ, I still have 40 minutes of this shit. I didn't like using the dragon build. I didn't like using the dragon build. It felt cheap. It felt dirty. And it didn't even feel good because it's garbage in duels. And so I'm done. I'm happy about it. And I'm like, you know what? There were some good fights in that recording. It'll turn out fine. I'm sure the video will be okay. And as I mentioned prior, no audio. It's gone. Footage, useless. And I had a massive headache. A massive headache from the stress of having to play this fucking build again. So my answer to the question, are dragon builds toxic? Yes. They're toxic for your opponent, and they're toxic for you. If you enjoy playing a dragon build, that's fine. I'm not here to judge you specifically. But I have judged myself as a less good individual overall. It brought out my hate. It brought out my anger. It brought out everything I despise about the unbalanced bullshit of Elden Ring's PvP at this current time, at this current stage. You could just see this last kill. That last thing I just did. One breath. That wasn't a fight. This isn't for duels. This isn't for fights. Now, all of that being said, I can see the merit in using a dragon build for invasions. you're getting cheesed, you're in a gank situation, you know, it's a 3v1, just brain dead, use the dragon breath, win, right? That easy, ease peas, big old squeeze, you know what I'm saying? Like, this guy healed and teabagged because, like, he knows, and I know, like, I am not proud of this, I am not happy with this. Like, it's just mashing, it's just brain dead mashing that I find with this build. Now, you can spice it up with other incantations and use it more as a zoning tool. But like that Dragon Maw, like in the prior recording, there was a fight where I landed it and it did 1800 damage. It straight up one-shot the guy. He dodged the claw attack. I basically followed it with the Dragon's Maw incant and it was over. The fight was done. And that's the thing, like, at first it was funny. It was funny for like 5 minutes. Then it got stale and boring, and after that, it just felt gross. It just felt gross, and it wasn't fun. And yeah, I feel like a lot of people blocked me today for using this build, and I can't even blame them. In my last video, you know, I asked, are bow builds cheating? And no, they're not cheating, but a lot of people in the comments were like, yeah, but it's not fun for your opponent. It's not fair for your opponent. And it's like, well, what would you rather? Would you rather fight the guy using the bow and arrow that you can probably hit? Or would you rather fight the guy who could one-shot you? Realistically, the right answer is, well, you want to fight the guy who can one-shot because you'll probably be able to beat him if you get your spacing right. But that's the thing with dragon builds. It's one mistake, one wrong move, like what this guy's about to do here. He's about to make a mistake. And he casts Terra Magica, and he gets his buffs from being in there. He was going to cast another spell, and he got caught, probably in the middle of casting a spell. I couldn't actually see because the dragon head is so fucking big. And that's it. He got one shot. He got one tapped. It wasn't even a fight. It wasn't even fair. But in this following fight, oh no, it's not this fight. I'll save my opinion on one fight when the opponent comes up. Because there are things that are a bit more toxic than dragon builds. And again, in invasions, maybe if you're in a 3v1 gank scenario, you can do what was just pulled there. But that's the thing, like, there's no spiciness to this build. There's no fun to this build. And funny enough, this video, this episode, was supposed to be episode 7 because, yes, like a crackhead, I sat down and recorded 4 YouTube videos, fully edited, ready to go. Like, I just sat down and did all my work that I was supposed to do across like 3-4 weeks. Nah, I sat down and did it in 2 nights because big dopamine hit from the last video and figured, you know what, follow the dopamine, Buppo. Do your thing. Use your hyperfixation on making videos right now to your advantage and, you know, record the thing. And yeah, this was supposed to be episode 7. There were supposed to be 3 other episodes to come out before this one. But the absolute toxicity and brain deadness of this build made me want to put out this video right now. Now, I know a lot of what I'm saying is negative, and it's very disparaging, especially to those who are like, well, Buppo, I actually enjoy dragon builds. Like, I don't think it's fair that you're saying that. And that's fine. You know, I do respect your opinion, and I do respect what you have to say regarding that. But this build, as you can see, really brought out the worst in me. And I made it a point to be the least toxic possible while playing. I made sure to bow. I made sure to wait that everyone got as many buffs as they wanted to give them the fairest, best chance in fighting. And here's the thing. I'm showing a lot of the fights where I won. But like, in a full hour, this is 20 minutes of victories. The other 40 minutes was me waiting on connecting with someone because, you know, who's going to want to fight the dragon build guy? Like, there are a few people who just left. They saw the setup and went, no, and they just opted out of the world. And then it's the losses, because dragon builds are terrible in duels. Like, all of my duels ended up like this. I'd be in a very low health scenario, absolutely low health situation, and, you know, I had to play my best with a halberd and a dagger, the best I could. And I'm not that great with halberds. I was in the middle of the Ash of War there. I really should have followed up with a riposte, but, you know, there I was, caught with my pants down, having a bad time, because, again, like, this is post-headache. Had to take a break, go for a walk, get some fresh air. Like, this build felt so gross. I actually touched grass. I actually went outside, and touched some fucking grass. Unlike some of my opponents, some of them were actually from the first recording, and the first recording to the third recording were generally, like genuinely, 3 hours apart. 3-4 hours apart. I had time to go for a walk, get some fresh air, spend some quality time with my fiance, or girlfriend as I mentioned before, but she's my fiance. I had time to do that. I had time to watch a few episodes of a TV series, and then had dinner. So I had time to do all these quick little things and sit down and record a full other hour of PvP. Yeah, the second time around, I hated it. I had fun doing, in 2 hours of recording, I had fun for maybe 10, max 20 minutes. The rest, this build felt like a chore. So to spice things up, I started using the Ripple halberd here, the Ripple Crescent Blade, Ripple Crescent halberd. I forget the names. I always forget the names. You guys know this by now. Regardless, it's a funny little arcane scaling weapon. It has S scaling with your arcane skill, so you know, use that with what you will. I'm not sure that was a sentence that made sense, but you know what I mean. The reason why you use it on an arcane build is because with the greases, it will actually scale with your arcane stat, the buildup on the grease. So that sleep grease that I put on it, if I actually played well in that fight, I could have probably put my opponent to sleep and then used a dragon ability. I try not to do that because I find that that's a little bit toxic. I mean, this whole build is toxic. Even using the Ripple Blade with sleep is toxic. A lot of things in Elden Ring are toxic, and that comes over to my other point. Unfortunately, this game is kind of built on cheese, I find. I mean, this guy that I'm fighting, this Madness build, like, his whole goal is to get Madness on me. He got away from the fire, though, so there is actually going to be a fight. There is going to be a duel here. And if he would have been caught by that claw, that would have been it. He rolled at the right time. I was caught in his Madness storm there, and I thought it was over for me. He did pretty good damage with that. I was going to follow up with a Dragon Maw on that fight, but or like that interaction there, but that didn't work out the way I wanted it to. I do recognize the different Madness spells because I used to play a Madness build myself for invasions, and yes, people think that is toxic. Absolutely, it was. I'm not even going to pretend like it wasn't. That's Elden Ring, unfortunately. That is Elden Ring right now. But there are builds that are more toxic and less fun than others, and this is one of them. This build, I understand how people can have fun with it, but it is not the build for me. This is not how I have fun when I play these games. Funny enough, I know that the last video was the archery build, but I actually have more fun with melee builds. I have fun with builds that allow me to close the gap and really get in my opponent's face and, you know, go head to head. So funny enough, I had more fun using the halberd on this build than any of the incantations, because that's the thing. It's like this build is just slow spells that if they hit, fight's over. The other thing that I put on the Wakizashi was the Bestial Roar, because it is a quick, punishing, like finishing tool, and it can be useful after a breath attack. If they somehow survive the breath attack with like 2 HP, then you can finish the fight there. And this is a fight I wanted to commentate on. Oh, nope, never mind, not this guy. He's wearing the same suit, or the same, like, armor as the fight that I really want to commentate. So when it comes up, I will immediately stop what I'm talking about and let you guys know. But regardless. Yeah, dragon builds, just, they're not for me. They're not for me. I get how some people might really enjoy them, but it's just, in a duel setting at least, it feels very, very toxic. And watching other YouTubers like Stilovsky talk about this, who is like a much higher caliber PvPer than I am, or even I might ever be. Like, this is a guy who does like very competitive Elden Ring PvP with like on the rule set and all that. Sorry, not the rule set, on the PvP Elden Ring server with a specific like rule set to builds. And yeah, he put out a video recently, so shoutouts to Silovsky. He put out a video recently about dragon builds with dragon invasions, and it's It's pretty much the same opinion as I have. I mean, he goes a little more in depth to it and is a little more sarcastic about it. But, like, this is what it is. This is the dragon build. Like, look, this is what's happening. I use Flame Breath, and I've almost already won. I just got to land, like, 2 more hits. And that's it. 2 hits. Literally 2 hits. My man got 2-shotted. He got breathed on, and then he got a dragon slap. Now, I do fancy bows here and there because I'm like, you know, I kind of roleplay my characters. I really do. I'm a bit of a nerd. I'm a bit of a weeb when I come and play these games. I always have like a lore and an idea in my head of who my character is and how they act. And I try to choose my emotes accordingly. And, yeah, the Dragon Man, he is as honorable as he can be, despite using a dragon build. And yeah, look at this guy right here. He's done. He's like, yeah, no, I'm not fighting this. I'm not dealing with this. And I just wave him goodbye, and if he blocked me, I accept that, because that's what this build deserves, bro. Like, it's not fun to duel against. This is not something you bring in the duel arena, and that was the point of my video. It was to make this point that dragon builds aren't for dueling. They are for invading, maybe. And I say maybe because, you know, if you want invasions to be easy, I guess, just sneak up on your opponents and get a little, you know, get a little cheeky and just triple gank. I mean, that's why gankers will use it too, right? Like the Rot Breath. How many times, if you like to do PvP in Elden Ring, and if you like to invade specifically, how many times have you gone into a world where that was a sick parry, by the way. That's why I kept it in the video. And this is what's going to happen to you fighting with this build. Like, you are going to get clowned on because you don't have good armor. Well, you could use a better armor, but I didn't have good armor. I didn't have good weapons. I felt so out of my element. It's just not for me. Anyways, going back to my former point, how many times have you gone into a world as an invader and to a host's world, and the host is running some kind of mage setup, their over-leveled phantom is running a bleed setup, and then their other, maybe regular leveled phantom is just running Rot Breath on the dragon, or all 3 of them are running Rot Breath on the dragon. And now you have to carry Rot Boluses, and you have to carry, you know, like, carry in retaliation on your shield. I mean, you should do all these things because you know what you're going to go up against. But that's the thing, like, it's such an easy tool to use. There's just, it kills the skill gap. And, oh, ladies and gentlemen, what is more toxic than a dragon build? Ultra Greatsword crouch poking. I'm going to go out and say it. That's my hot take of the day. Ultra Greatsword crouch poking is more toxic. Because if a player is actually really good at it, you're done. You're done. They're going to read every roll you do because you can reaction roll catch with it. Like, if you're good enough at the game, that's all you have to do. Just reaction roll catch. And to be fair, he's... that backstab was clean. But to be fair, he's probably doing it. And he was not expecting the bestial roar there. And I do point down at him because that's all he did. He threw out one regular R1, and the rest was crouch pokes. And again, like, if you reaction roll to that, like... Sorry, if you can reaction roll catch. And even if you reaction roll to it, like, they can still roll catch you on reaction with a good connection. And I'm almost thankful we had a semi-bad connection in that fight. In fact, I feel like I'm going to have a bad connection with everyone on PC. I need to get my PC checked out or reworked. I need to figure things out for my Elden Ring setup. But instead of doing that, I decided to record like 3 videos instead. 4 videos, sorry. Sneak peeks on the other videos? No, I like to keep them a secret. But I will say that they will not be as infuriating to me as this build was. In fact, the next video, the real episode 4, the one that I did want to put out prior to making this, that one I'm really, really excited to show you guys. It was actually asked for in the comment section of the last video, and so I really want to go back and shout out to the person who gave me that recommendation, because that is the build in the last 2 days that I had the absolute most fun using, and I have found genuinely my new favorite weapon in Elden Ring. It is not only a fun weapon to use, it is an underrated weapon to use, and it is a fair weapon to use. And unlike necessarily using a sleep build on this, like, that's just pure roll catch. This is pure roll catch, and if you miss, they're going to bed. It's bedtime. Oh man, I do love roll catching though, I'm not even gonna lie. And that's the thing too, as much as I did say Ultra Greatsword roll catching is more toxic, the reason I say that compared to roll catching with a halberd is because it costs less stamina. You're crouching, you're crouch poking, and it's so easy to react. Oh, and that's the thing too, if you're against a dragon build, like, you have a split-second decision to make. You either run in and hit them, knock them out of their poise, or run away far enough to not get hit by the breath. Most of the time, though, if you're in that middle stance, it's over. Oh, and here's our crouch crouch poker from the last game. I decided to give him a chance. I figured he'll probably fight me fairly this time. And funny enough, he does. He actually fights me fairly. And I'm not going to spoil it, but I am going to spoil it. Ha, I lied. He wins. He wins, and he deserves the win. You know, yes, he's using Storm Stomp, but again, look at my build. Like, it's only fair. We can allow it. That R2, if that finished me, that would have been sick. But yeah, the sleep on this, I really went for the charged R2. I wanted to see, that was actually an experiment. I wanted to see if you could get a full charged R2 from landing sleep right away. And my recommendation is don't try it. Don't do it. Not worth it. And he gets the point down, and I got a clap for him on that one, so a little golf clap for that, because he deserved to give me a point down. That's why I kept it in the video, because at this point in time, through the recording, I was getting so sick, I just wanted it to be over. And I'm like, no, I need 1 hour of footage. That's my setup, that's my meta, that's what I do. I try to get that nice little hour of footage to put in the video. And yeah, this fight was actually after the other one. I mean, obviously, you're in the video, right? But I tested, you know, fast R2, can you land it? Yes, you can. Charge R2? No, you can't. So we learn here on the Big Buppo channel. And if ever you're in a situation like that, don't swing wildly R1s. That is not the recommended play. And yeah, here comes our last fight. Before the video ends, I just want to let you guys know I am deeply sorry for being this way and trying this build. I regret it immensely. I wish I had never made this video, but hey, you gotta learn somehow. And I kept this fight because this is our rematch against the homie here. And I tried to get him with the Dragon Maw. Man, if that landed, that would have been sick, but it is what it is. It be what it be. And yeah, if you guys enjoyed the video, despite my my rant and my rage, please like, please subscribe. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section. Please tell me if you think dragon builds are toxic or not. I am of the staunch opinion that yes, they absolutely are. And check it out, anime finish right here. 3, 2, 1, bam. Bam! Despite all that, I love this game. And stats are showing up here on screen. If you do want to try this build for yourself and draw your own opinion on it, here are the talismans and equipment running up right now. As you can see, the talismans are set up to do as much damage as possible, but you can do better. Anyways, take care, guys. Good night.
Subscribe to Big Buppo's YouTube. You must. Or tickle your toes. I will.